Hey class, just taking some time to go over the Integrating Clinical Material with Theoretical Concepts paper, which is due at the end of this week on Sunday. This paper will be worth 20% of your grade, and the purpose is just to get within the habit of conducting scholarly research to inform your clinical practice. So you are going to be taking the client problem that you wrote about in the developmental assessment paper. You're going to be taking that case and you are going to be kind of isolating a specific issue within that particular case and conducting scholarly research about that problem and ways to treat it. So when I say scholarly research, you're going to be looking at specific scholarly sources that you would find from the library. Specifically, this does not include websites or blogs or anything of that nature. The best thing to do is to make sure that you are searching via the library or Google Scholar to make sure that you are coming up with specific scholarly research. So in terms of identifying the client problem, it could be a specific diagnosis, it could be trauma, it could be attachment. So those are maybe a little bit more broad, but those are some specific kind of issues that I've seen throughout some of the papers that you all have wrote for your developmental assessment paper. So in the first section is going to be essentially a literature review. So you're going to be reviewing the specific research and you are going to be identifying at least 5 scholarly references. So throughout the literature review, you can organize that however you choose to. It could be specific to ways to assess that client, but it must include some specific interventions as well. Because for the second part of the paper, you're going to be identifying how you might modify the interventions that you had identified in the developmental assessment paper. And you're going to be using that research to say, this is how I would modify it based on what I know and what I read about this specific problem now. So you're going to be, you could reference the material from your developmental assessment paper and then identify, this is something that I learned from this scholarly source, provide that citation and say, this is why I would change that intervention. So here you'll see the guidelines. The literature review should be the longest part of this paper. This is going to be the most detailed portion. Your modifications to interventions can be about 1 page. You don't have to, go through totally new interventions. Most of you will likely be still using a lot of the interventions that you identified in the developmental assessment paper, but just providing some modifications based on the research. Please keep in mind and pay close attention to APA format for this paper because this will require a lot of in-text citations since you are doing a literature review. The paper should be 4 to 8 pages in length. Please do not forget to include a minimum of 5 outside scholarly references in addition to the course material. So what this means is you can use some of the references that you've already read in learning resources throughout the course, but we're looking for you to find 5 outside scholarly resources. If you do have any questions along the way, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'll be available as much as I can. And I know that this is a more difficult paper, including the literature review and finding those sources. So if I can help in any way, I will. Just reach out to me on Canvas, and I hope you all have a great week.